Good evening, Commonwealth, and thanks for watching the Channel 2 News. I'm Ashley McDowell. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. A hearing is held between IPI and the Commonwealth Casino Commission. Also tonight, the CNMI House of Representatives passed their 2020 budget. And Congressman Khalili Sablan has co-sponsored a bill that will give more structure to elections in the CNMI. In sports, 50,000 people on this island. How many have black belts? The answer may surprise you. These stories and more are next.
The phone you want now on the best network and a plan that gives you endless data on chat, social, and music apps. Tell your Docomo Pacific rep you want now with access. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
Ah, Spain. Home of the Grand Mick Extreme Bacon Burger from McDonald's. Fresh beef, Applewood smoked bacon, and Gouda cheese. But to get one, you'd have to get your passport, get to the airport, squeeze into the middle seat, go through customs, get into an itty-bitty taxi, say Llévame al McDonald's más cercano, and finally order one. Or get to your neighborhood McDonald's now, because for a limited time, worldwide favorites are here. Around the world is now around the corner.
Half a day, Tirwami, and good evening, Commonwealth. Today is Friday, June 28th, 2019. In the courtroom of Associate Judge Kenneth Govindo, a hearing is held. Imperial Pacific International versus the Commonwealth Casino Commission. CNMI House of Representatives Ed Probst filed an Open Government Act with the Commonwealth Casino Commission to disclose Imperial Pacific International's tax information to the public, who is the licensee for the casino in Garapan. IPI then filed for a temporary restraining order to protect the confidentiality of their tax information. IPI subpoenaed Ed Probst to court today.
I was surprised to get a subpoena from IPI because I was going to be here anyway, but okay, subpoena away and let's see what they have to ask. I mean, I was even surprised that I was subpoenaed. I'm not upset, but a little bit surprised because, I mean, all they could have done was just ask me anything they wanted. We're operating off of Public Law 1924. When I sent in the OGA request, it was from my email, my work email, that I use as a representative. And furthermore, that I put it with my title. I was addressed as a representative. I'm the Gaming Committee member, and I'm a representative, representing the people in my official capacity. But the thing that I wanted the public to know is you don't have to be a representative or a gaming committee member. The information that I requested is through Public Law 1924, and anyone can get the same information.
CCC Executive Director Edward De Leon Guerrero was called to the stand for questioning, as well as Ed Probst. Judge Govindo continued the hearing to Monday, July 1st at 9 a.m. as he says the weekend will be used to determine what information both sides can agree on to be released. Judge Govindo says certain taxpayer information is confidential and some information can be released to the public, and that is what needs to be determined.
I think that the judge was fair. I think that it's a good thing that we live in the United States where we're being given an opportunity to make sure that we can ask for businesses to be protected because they have a constitutional right to privacy just like people do. So I appreciate the time the court has taken to hear us out on this very important matter. And this is not just a matter that's important for IPI. It's also people should be aware that this could potentially impact them in their personal capacities or even businesses because it's a slippery slope. You open the door and say, okay, well, it's not confidential information, your taxes are not confidential, then anybody can have it. Or when I was talking about taxes, tomorrow we might be talking about health records. It's a dangerous position to be in, and all we're asking is for the courts to uphold the laws that already exist. That's all.
Another question Judge says needs to be answered. Is this a way of hiding money? Judge Govindo says he would like to get the agreement resolved before the scheduled July 9th hearing. Reporting for KSPN, I'm Ashley McDowell. Up on Capitol Hill, the HB 21-64 was introduced, giving the budget for fiscal year 2020, and was amended and passed by the Sinai House of Representatives. HB 21-64 is the budget for fiscal year 2020 provided by the Sinai House of Representatives, where $148 million has been approved. 17 voted yes and 2 voted no.
We have to get the budget going. We need to get it out of the House for the Senate to consider. I don't know what the Senate has plans for their budget, because we have to also respect them, right? They have their own obligations, their own priorities. So the budget might actually change. And through the years, as a member of the legislature, I've always known that the budget's always gone to conference committee. So there's discrepancies between the two houses. So we got to iron that under the conference committee.
There were modifications made to the proposed budget.
From the governor's submission to the legislature, there was changes made because of the governor's message to the legislature that they will be removing vacancies. So the committee members on their Ways and Means made those changes and took out the vacant positions as they saw fit from the governor's transmittal to the legislature. Provided, however, that they continuously requested for information from OMB regarding the vacant positions, whether they're being filled, because they didn't want to zero out positions that were actually currently in the process. I.e., one example was the 2nd senatorial district. They had some vacancies, but they were actually filling those positions, and they were zeroed out on the budget. So they were requesting, like, hey, these guys are budgeted under 2019. You're taking them out of the budget, but they're actually being filled positions right now. But on the budget, it reflected that they were vacant positions. So the committee chair, vice chair, and the members consistently asked OMB for updated information so that they don't pass a budget that was actually going to end up firing people in 2020.
One big modification being 6 positions that had to be added back into the budget. But this was a concern to some of the members.
One of the issues that came up during the House session was whether or not to divert funding from the Northern Marianas College, the public school system, and the mayor's office to restore 6 vacant positions to the executive branch, the governor's office, the lieutenant governor's office, and the Office of Management and Budget. And we objected, the members of the minority objected to diverting funds from our public schools and from our college especially, which we know have been greatly impacted by the typhoons and also by the austerity measures. And we insisted that those funds should remain with our schools, and that the positions that were being restored to the governor and lieutenant governor's office were not essential. And unfortunately, our position did not prevail. So that was one of the concerns.
But Attal says those positions were already being filled.
Those 6 positions are ones that were actually being filled up already while the Ways and Means Committee were trying to get additional information so that they can update the numbers before we pre-filed the legislation. We didn't get those numbers until we pre-filed the legislation, which was pre-filed on Monday. And they became a public document, and there's the executive branch like, these positions are actually being filled. So we have to revert back the funds that were taken out from those key positions so that they don't lose their jobs come October 1st.
The budget now goes to the Senate for approval.
We expect the Senate to come back with their version. We expect this bill to go into conference, and our hope is that the budget that results from this process will properly reflect the priorities of education and healthcare and of course public safety, and all other government services. Funding for those services would have to be adjusted given these limited resources.
Reporting for KSPN, I'm Ashley McDowell. A legislation that's purpose is to financially support the bond obligations and retirement fund settlement payments is 21-44. House Speaker and author of the measure, B.J. Attal, says the legislature received a letter from the governor requesting a $15 million line of credit through the Marianas Public Land Trust. And that is how this bill 21-44 was born. MPLT has approved the release of the $15 million, but is calling it a loan instead.
That's what MPLT wants, is just a loan, a straight up loan, so that they can withhold the interest. But, you know, just so the general public understand that the legislation itself is only the application to allow this to happen. They need to understand that when the contractual agreement between the administration and MPLT, that's where all the meat is going to be at. It's that negotiation document is going to be where all the meats and potatoes of the understanding, the agreement between the two entities. The legislation itself is just to allow that to happen. I believe MPLT was more considering the idea of whether a line of credit or a debt service is feasible for the government and how they can actually address the loan. The interest that I was on the original 21-44 was the security blanket that should the government fail, that the money is there to pay MPLT what is owed to them. So the general public, I know that they brought up the concerns that, oh, the government's going to do something like they did with retirement, they just take the money and not ever pay it back. The interest earned from MPLT's investment that's supposed to go to the general fund for appropriation will be the security blanket in protecting that the payment is made to MPLT.
Speaker Attal says amendments will now be made to the bill 21-44. A bill has passed the U.S. House of Representatives that will include the Northern Mariana Islands in the Help America Vote Act. The election integrity bill is co-sponsored by Congressman Gregorio Khalili-Sublan and will include the Northern Mariana Islands in the definition of state, which will make the Commonwealth eligible for several new grants. A release states these grants will ensure the integrity of elections nationwide and in the Marianas, and also states that the public auditor's report that was issued on June 18th found that the number of ballots received from the printer and the total used and unused at polling places was not fully accounted for by the Commonwealth Election Commission. Also, that absentee ballots were not always handled, which is required by law. The SAFE Act, or Securing America's Federal Elections, protects election infrastructure. One of the weaknesses discovered by the Marianas Public Auditor is the need of help implementing strong chain of custody procedures. The release states that the special counsel report by Robert Mueller on Russian interference in federal elections gave Congressman Sublan the opportunity to include the Marianas in HAVA. The bill now awaits action by the Senate. And speaking on Super Typhoon U2, there is an environmental need to get trees back on our island. And representatives from Precinct 2 is doing what they can to do just that. It's the Bring Back Our Trees project, led by the Micronesia Islands Nature Alliance, along with the CNMI Division of Forestry, Northern Marianas College, Bureau of Coastal and Environmental Quality, Saipan's Mayor's Office, and other community partners. And Precinct 2 Representative Christina Sublan and John Paul Sublan are inviting members of the community to participate in planting trees along the coast this Saturday. A release states that native trees will be planted along the shoreline to replace the trees lost by Super Typhoon U2. Water, gloves, and tools will be provided. Volunteers will meet at the Sugar Dock Beach, where planting will take place from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. For more information, contact Mina at 233-7333. Coming up, we take you on a tour around the island, but this time it's in the air. Check it out after the break.
Get the phone plan you're looking for at IT&E. Stay connected with the strongest, widest, and most reliable network in the Marianas. Stream, share, play, shop, and surf the web with super fast 4G LTE data. Whether you need just a few gigabytes of data to get by, or if you want to go further with unlimited data, there's a plan for you. You'll always get the best price. Visit any IT&E store or call us to learn more. IT&E. Explore your world.
Welcome to the Marianas Eye Institute. Our office on Beach Road is staffed with U.S. certified eye care technicians, doctors that have received national recognition, and a friendly, professional staff that will look after you and your loved ones. With over 1,200 eyeglass frames to choose from and an in-house lab, we can make most glasses in about an hour, and we even feature a mobile clinic to bring eye care to you. Keep your eyes healthy and strong with professional eye care at the Marianas Eye Institute.
Welcome back to the Channel 2 News. I'm sure you've seen the red helicopter that flies tours around the island. Well, we speak with the Director of Operations, who says they have recently made some changes to not only accommodate the tourists, but also the locals.
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a red helicopter. This is vertical aviation.
And we started out in Scottsdale, Arizona 20 years ago, and it's gone through several incantations, has traveled through Las Vegas, and about a year and a half ago we made it here to Saipan.
Vertical aviation is one of the newest tourist attractions for Saipan, giving tours of the island with this red helicopter.
It's really busy. Hopefully with everything that's going on over the summer, we get more and more tourists. It's always busy here in Saipan. It's such a beautiful place and people love it so much. We are doing whatever we can to outreach everyone we can, including a lot of the locals.
Currently, vertical aviation goes up to 2,000 feet at around 100 miles per hour, giving locals and tourists an aerial view of Saipan.
As we take off from here, we go up to the top of Papa Chow, so you get a nice 360-degree view of all of Saipan. Usually descend down around Garapan, and then you see the lagoon in Matagaha, and then it's the reef line back to the airport.
However, with the route, there were some concerns on noise coming from the helicopter and altitude. Loop says they heard the concerns and have addressed them accordingly.
We recently met with the FAA and talked with them about our route, the altitudes, and we made some adjustments. So hopefully it's a lot quieter. We're being better citizens of Saipan and not irritating people on the beach. And in an outreach program, what I would encourage anybody that has a noise complaint here in Saipan to contact our office directly. That way, if you're having a birthday party and you don't want the helicopter flying directly over it, we completely understand. We'll adjust the route accordingly.
Loop says some of the projects they are working on is to have a tour going up to the northern islands. And another project, you may ask?
A couple of different things that we're trying to do is rescue helicopter for Saipan in general. That's kind of beyond the tour industry, really what we're trying to do for the citizenry and to bring rescue services here and not have to count on what's available in Guam.
He says that vertical aviation tries to accommodate everyone here in the Marianas.
We really want to be fly friendly and be good citizens of Saipan. There's a lot of different impressions that people have about helicopters, and we want it to be a fun, exciting experience for everyone.
Thank you. All right, coming up, you know it is Friday, and you know what that means. It means a lot of different things to different people. To us, though, it means top plays of the week are coming up.
The phone you want now on the best network and a plan that gives you endless data on chat, social, and music apps. Tell your Docomo Pacific rep you want now with access. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply.
You deserve more. Hey, I know it's been hard. Come on, let's go for a ride.
Hi, welcome Welcome to Dow Rent to Own.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now this feels like home.
Dial Rent to Own. Making lives better since 1987.
Buenas sports fans. Buenas sports fans, not too many people from Saipan can say they earned a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's so few that you can count them on one hand. Trench Tech Gym had a promotion for its Jiu-Jitsu class this week, and then, surprise, Cookie Alvarez and Frank the Crank Camacho were awarded black belts.
When Professor Berto came up, he presented the belts to some of the kids, but then surprisingly, he presented Frank and I with our black belts, so that was that.
The awarding of the highest classification in BJJ comes as a result of years-long devotion and dedication.
Basically living the jiu-jitsu lifestyle and building the sport here in the CNMI. So they looked into that and said that, that's a very worthy cause for you to get promoted. But of course, I was a purple belt for 2 years. I was a brown belt for 2 years. And when they saw that the school and the gym is building really well and the membership and the numbers are picking up, as well as me getting a silver medal in Japan last year in the Masters division on brown belt at the highest level, they felt that I was ready. And at the same time, I'm humbled and more than honored to receive the accolade of black belt.
There are no shortcuts to achieving a black belt.
You can climb through the ranks by joining tournaments and showcasing your skill set and winning tournaments on the highest level. Some people get their black belts really fast by, they start off as a white belt and they kind of speed through it. They just have the knack for learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They go out and they showcase their skills, and then they beat, some of the top white belts in their division, and then they go to blue belt. They beat the top blue belts in their division, and then so on and so forth. They go to purple. So some people can get their Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt anywhere from, I've seen it done in about 2 or 3 years, but average to get your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, it depends, but average is around 10 years.
How long did it take you?
About 15 years.
Kookie and Frank now join a select group. How many black belts on Saipan?
Currently, there are 3 black belts on Saipan, but I know for a fact that there are a total of 5 black belts from Saipan worldwide. So right now, Clinton De La Cruz, who was one of the first black belts to get promoted from the island of Saipan, he's been training with us for about a couple of years. And then, of course, just most recently, Frank the Crank Camacho and myself. That makes 3. And then there's a fellow in Hawaii who's from Saipan, William Torres. He just recently got his black belt too, about a couple months ago. And I know that there's one gentleman named Jack Bermudez, Professor Jack Bermudez. He's living in the States.
Well, it's time to get the party started and rock and roll the weekend, and we begin where we always do, with the top plays of this week. Coming in at number 3, Lakai and Shane De Leon Guerrero coming from behind to upset and eliminate the so-called real deal in the Ammon Lodge semifinals. Coming in at number 2, Norman Tenorio, using his dad's diamond-encrusted putter at the Joe 10 Memorial Classic. He likes Joe 10's putter so much, he used it 4 times on just that one hole. And the top play of the week, Tan Holdings FC, after winning their Dove Masters League futsal game last Sunday, posed for the team photo. All right, let's see a shaka and an airplane. Thank you. Now, arms around shoulders. Good. Okay, right knee Oops, the other right knee. Hang loose, mongoose. That's it. Now, jump. Thank you. You made the top play of the week.
Here's the windup and the pitch.
I don't believe what I just saw.
So what are you going to do this year? At Gold's, a dedicated fitness studio with a cushioned floor is perfect for group exercise. The cardio room features a variety of treadmills, bikes, steppers, and ellipticals. Fitness machines will help you achieve your goals, and the largest free weight area on Saipan gives you comfortable space to work out. Gold's Gym team is ready to help you get to your goals. Try harder. We know you can do it.
Today's high temperature, 90 again. The heat index, 101 again. The low, 79. Humidity, 66%. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, isolated showers. East winds, 10 to 15 miles an hour. High, you guessed it, 90. Low, you guessed it again, 79. Seas 3 to 5 feet. Sunrise, 5:49 in the morning. A low tide at 11:21. High tide at 6:02. Sunset at 6:51. And good news, for the next 19 days, the sunset's going to be at 6:51, so get used to it. And that's it. Let the weekend begin. It begins right now. See you back here Monday night.